Yeah, guys, welcome to this review for another disappointing England game. Very bad from Euro 24. Terrible. What more can I say? Pathetic. Yet again. And by the way, apologies, I'm a bit late with this. I was supposed to be on here at 15:15, but having trouble with StreamYard again for some reason. I don't know what it was. But anyway, actually on here now. So, going yet into more pathetic, useless crap that Southgate dredges up once again for England. For us to watch and fall asleep and how bad we are at playing football. There's more better teams than us in this Euros, that's for sure. And it's also going to be a bit of a double today because obviously I'm doing this one, England, talk about England with the football, and then of course going into the cricket, which we were miles better at. Amazing, fantastic result, and I'll be a lot happier talking about that when I do that one afterwards. And I'll see England winning in the T20, well, in the Super 8 against West Indies. Brilliant, magnificent win. I did say all along we could win that. A lot of people, no, it's West Indies. West Indies are favourites. They're going well. They're unbeaten. But then, of course, I just know West Indies can hit a brick wall. They've done it in the past. They'll do it again. They can't always go all the way. They know. We know they can't. Something stops them, and there's some sort of break there that stops them. And I just knew we had a chance. I just thought we could. And I'm glad we did. Today's game will be a bit harder against South Africa. I think a lot harder probably. But obviously we're getting to that later on when I do that stream. But obviously I'm doing this one for the time being and talking about useless England in the football. And I've got a few comments here before I introduce my guest. Yes, Southgate's trash, but have to hold players accountable. Well, yeah, I guess so. But they're only obeying what the manager's telling them to, his tactics, and telling them what to do in his strategy, where he wants them, and whatever. Yeah, they got their own mind. They should know what they've got to do, but they're still trying to follow the manager's orders. So he's still ultimately the one to blame. And anyway, Chris Welch, be up, mate. Hope you're well. Well, we aren't well as England fans. Well, no, exactly, mate. We're not. We're not, my friend. No. We're just going to hope it gets better. I don't see how, but we're going to it today and hope maybe we can find something we can look forward to and a positive about it. I don't think there is, but. Chris Welch again, players should be held accountable, but so does South Clown. Yep. Due to his tactics, why are we not running in behind a defence who's as fast as a granny walking across the road? Exactly, yeah. I wouldn't put it quite like that, but a nice way in the way there, Chris. I like that comment, mate. But it's I don't know either. I've given up trying to understand what's going on with Southgate and the England team, to be honest. But I'll actually introduce my guest now. My regular guest, who's always here, who talks load of sense about everything, cricket, every sport, really, football. He's got the voice of the radio. It's Mr. T. It's Manny. Big up, Manny.
How you doing, big up, Mr. All good, Mr. B, all good. And I think now I've sort of got the right position to make sure that I can sit and you can see my eyes a lot more clearly. That means if I move from this position, you get a blur. But I think Chris summed it up, really. You know, not only are we not well as England fans, but this particular comment over here pretty much sums it all up. Yes, the players have to be held accountable, but Southgate must carry the can mainly because he's the one who picked the squad. He's the one who chooses the 11 and picks the substitute. So everything also mainly has to fall on him. Now, there was also some talk. I don't really want to act a bit of a spoiler, but there was also some talk from him saying we don't have a natural replacement for Calvin Phillips.
Calvin Phillips.
Well,
it makes you laugh, doesn't it? It really does.
You did have a replacement for Calvin Phillips, but you chose to drop him because you bowed to the pressure from people saying, this guy's a hypocrite for moving to Saudi Arabia to be with his old mate. He's a fool for ending up leaving without not getting a single penny from that. And, people were crowing with glee when this particular person was, dropped from the squad and have been hailing Southgate for his courage in making those big calls. But the simple fact is, he's making these big calls as sort of a cover to hide people, to prevent people from attacking him for his tactical ineptitude. And so if he doesn't have a replacement for Calvin Phillips, if he doesn't have a proper holding midfielder, in his view, then whose fault is that? What sort of a coach refuses to, do his homework and make sure that he selects the players he needs to fulfill his tactical requirements? And he picked Luke Shaw in the squad because he decided that he needed a left-footed left back. But for some reason, Shaw wasn't even named on the substitutes bench. And
is
apparently,
he fit, though? Do we know if he's fit, Manny?
Well, the thing is, Southgate had made some noises about how well Luke was recovering, and he had hoped to, have him fit for at least the knockout stages, if not the final group game against Slovenia. But having said all of that, to not even see him on the list, on the substitutes list, you have to wonder if there's something going on. And if it is true that Shaw will probably not play any part in the tournament, then that's just a waste of a selection. Were there no other left backs he could have taken? Left-footed ones? Yep, we are missing. Who is it?
We got that guy from Luton, Doherty. Could have played left-footed. If you talk about left back, I'll take it. Yeah. We got Alfie Doherty for a start. Luton. There are players. There were others. I just don't think he bothered. I don't think. I mean, what are the players we got? I think he got at Bournemouth. I think is there a good left back? Is he English? At Bournemouth.
I believe the left back who plays there is a guy named Kirkies, who actually is is Hungarian. Having said that, though, there is a chap named Lloyd Kelly who normally plays as a central defender, but who has also switched to left back on a few occasions. He could perhaps have been considered. So everything about this squad selection pretty much reeked of a person who clearly, didn't have any conviction. He didn't have any prudence or common sense. It was just it was a crap show of epic proportions and a disaster almost waiting to happen, really.
And smacks of excuses again to me this morning, to be honest. And I kept thinking, oh look, we scraped through. It was poor. The first game 1-0 against Serbia. It weren't great. We're going to get better than this. We can move on and do a better performance in the second game against Denmark. I know Denmark are a much better team, but I thought we could do a lot better than that. And we're doing it's the same useless stuff, boring crap, negative. Go backwards all the time, and the passing. And Kane is to blame there. Giving it away for that guy to score. A long way out. And nobody getting to him, blocking it. Nobody was there. Holding off, laying off him. And then when the shot came in, let's turn her back. Let's turn her back away from it. Stones and all that, turning away from it. And no, it was a great shot, fantastic shot. Went in off the post, great goal. But still, at the end of the day, they're to blame for it, England, especially Kane. I know he scored. I'll give him that. I think he's slightly better than he was against Serbia. But, you know, at the end of the day, you can't. What excuse can you give for that? Giving it away, a terrible ball inside your own half where he shouldn't be in his own half. He should be further down the field. And it's the same stuff. He just keeps coming back, and then it's, you know, disorganised with him there. I mean, you see the difference with Watkins coming on already. He's running in behind. He's quicker. He's going off the man and going in behind him. You could see the difference when he came on. And I think we need to go with Watkins rather than Kane. I'm sorry, unless Kane can change what he's doing. Yeah, he's getting goals. Sure, he got a goal. You know, that was good. But still, why are you going all the way back when you're a striker? Why are you funneling back all the time and doing stuff in your own half? You know, get further down the field. You're a striker. That's where you should be. And, you know, the defence is not good. Trippier's not a left back, nowhere near. That don't work at all. I still don't rate Stones. I'm sorry. A lot of people do. I think he's overrated. I don't rate him at all. I think Gehe's decent. He's not bad. He's performed fairly well over the 2 games. Even though he made that mistake, of course, but he's done so well getting back to, you know, rectify the error and block it. But I as you said, I think you mentioned last time, Manny, about Konza.
Yes.
I would have had Konza there with him, maybe, rather than Stones. And Walker, sometimes his passing's letting him down. He's quick. We know how quick he is, but his passing, his decision-making isn't great. Maybe could you have Gomez? Could you bring him in as right back? There's
What's
just so many
ironic
things could be done.
Yeah, there are some changes that could be made. I mean, I'm glad you now concur with me that Konsa should be considered as a central defensive option. I know that Gehi won a lot of plaudits for his display, and deservedly so, but Stones looks a little bit lost, really, without old Slabhead there. I mean, Stones, it's a little bit like a comedy duo in a way, Stones and Slabhead.
Yeah.
I know it's not necessarily a nice name, but, you know, you see the alliteration there. That's why I used it. And someone like Akonza, the best thing about him is that he can play both as a right back and a centre back. If you remember correctly, when Kyle Walker went down injured, it was Konza who was brought on, and he was the one who ended up, you know, distinguishing himself against Vinicius Jr. and preventing him from having too much joy down Brazil's left-hand side. Who needs Ben White?
With the bees. Sorry, Manny, to interrupt, but I remember him at the bees, and he done that there with us, exactly the same. And I knew he'd be a good player. I knew he could be really good. And when he went to Villa, he does occasionally make some bad errors. He can make mistakes, but who doesn't? But you know, I think he's still a really good defender. I really do. Anyway, mate, carry on. Sorry.
He's a quality defender. I mean, obviously, you know, whenever he's made mistakes, it's been at right back because he's had to fill in there as sort of an emergency option whenever Matthew Cash has been injured, and that poor fellow has ended up missing out on the tournament altogether with Poland. And you know, he can perform both roles. He obviously also came on against Iceland for John Stones in the centre and put in a very good shift there. So he definitely should be considered someone who should come into the team, especially if Stones continues to, you know, flatter to deceive. And the thing about Gomez is that, like Trippier, he is right-footed, but is now being used as more of a left-back. I've seen him play at right-back for Liverpool, and he is quite quality. He normally comes on as a replacement for Trent Alexander-Arnold and does a really good job on that right side. And there's a part of me that thinks that given that Trent cannot defend for Toffee, Liverpool would be better served by having Gomez at right back, which is his best position, not centre back, not even left back. But Klopp being Klopp, he didn't have the guts to drop his own star boy TAA, and at times, Liverpool have suffered for it. So Gomez could come in, but I'm wary about the position he might end up coming in as. It does seem, though, that invariably, if Trippier continues to struggle, Gomez could come in for him. But then Gomez coming in will just make it even. It's I don't want to say rubbish in, rubbish out, but you're replacing one inverted left back with another, and it doesn't really solve the problem. And so these are the issues with Southgate's squad, and he opted for courage over common sense. The legendary Paul McCartney once sang, "There's a fine line between recklessness and courage," and what Southgate and his admirers think would be courageous with regard to his squad selection, it's turned out to be recklessness, and of course, cowardice, in fact, for not even bothering to give Mainu and Adam Wharton the opportunities they need after picking them and getting your headlines out of it. So it gives you an idea of how Southgate is. He's more than happy to make these big calls and give people opportunities and then just throw them under the bus. And forget about Mainu and Wharton. Where's Gordon and Palmer, for Pete's sake? Where are Gordon and Palmer?
Exactly. Where are they? Because we got nothing going forward, man. It all looks poor. There's nothing. I mean, Foden's in the wrong position on the left. He's never a left-sided player. Nowhere near, and that's not his best position. And you could have, say, Gordon down there on the left. Even Palmer could go on the left there. And there's so many others you could have in there. I mean, as you say, you got them there. You got to play them. Why bring them and not play them? Is this just a statement thing? Oh, look, I'm picking someone else. I'm putting the players in you want me to put in. Why are you questioning me and all that? And is this also like an apologetic? It's almost like when he had to put Watkins on for Kane and whatever. It's like an apologetic thing. Oh, okay, I'll put him on. I don't really want to do it, but here you go. You go on. I'll take Kane off. It's not what I wanted to do, but I'm doing it because people want me to do it. I'll begrudgingly do it. He's so apologetic with what he's doing. It's just it's not ruthless either. I don't think he's a ruthless manager. I just think it's like, look, I've been told I should do this. I'll do it. And then he made it a bit late. But Watkins didn't make a slight difference when he came on, I thought. He got in behind and he had that good chance. That was fairly well saved. Pretty good save by, of course, Michael. Saved that well. But, I don't know about, what did you make of like Gallagher and that when they come on? As they didn't do too much, whatever, when he came on. Bowen. I don't think they were really in the game that much. Watkins made a bit of a difference.
That's the thing, though. I mean, I credit Southgate at least marginally for having the courage to bring on the subs when he did. And at least he was willing to, show some initiative in being willing to make those substitutions and see how far I could take them. And bringing off the players he did, Kane and Saka and Foden, that was, of course, a very big call. And he recognized that something had to be done. But again, so at least when he brought them on when he did, they had, in theory, at the very least, enough time to try and make a kind of impact. Watkins obviously did quite well. I think the big issue with Watkins is that a lot of people seem to think that he's a different sort of striker to Kane. He doesn't really have the ability to power his way through. He really is at his best playing as, the second striker in the 4-4-2, playing off the main number 9, the way he does with Aston Villa under Unai Emery. And I want to say big up to Up the Cherries in all departments, who also had Ryan Mather from Huddersfield Town Fan TV on for their stream. And I was saying exactly the same thing. A smart manager would consider playing 2 up front as opposed to just 1. When you play only 1 striker up front and expect some of your attacking midfielders to also try and, contribute with some goals every now and then, but mainly what you're going to see is crosses into the box for your striker, is the same Alan Shearer-centric football all over again. And I know that he announced his retirement after 63 caps and 30 goals following Euro 2000 so that he could continue to play for Newcastle for a few more seasons. But many commentators were saying that when he decided to retire, that was really, really a good thing. And it brought back the proper 2-striker formation. Michael Owen and then Wayne Rooney ended up coming to the fore. Now we just have 1 striker, Harry Kane, up front. And it's ridiculous. It really is. You take all these strikers like Watkins and even Tony and others, and you don't even bother to give them a chance to really, play and shine. He's got so much talent on his bench, but the bloke doesn't know how to even use it. And Chris, of course, confirming that, saying that the only left back is back Shaw is injured. But this is a good comment from Chris over here. Apparently, he says that Gomez is better at the fullback position, a bit like Dennis Irvin with Manchester United. He can be strong with both feet. Trippier is 2-1-footed. I completely agree that Trippier is 2-1-footed. The problem is I've seen Gomez, and yes, he can do well at left back, but right back, because he's right-footed, is really that position where he seems to shine a lot more. And I just don't know about you, mate, but there is something unnatural, really, about having a left-footed person playing at right back and vice versa. This whole inverted stuff, I call it the perverted inverted stuff, and it just doesn't, really sit right with me. And AFC always saying South Clan needs the experienced backroom staff. Yeah. Venables had that with Don Howe. And here's the thing: Southgate played under Venables. He was the bloke who was.
Yeah.
He was one of our first choice defenders at Euro 96. He missed that penalty.
Yeah,
so he can't not have learnt from those Terry Venables days. You just have to understand, is this an indictment of English coaches these days in that they don't bother to do their homework?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, somebody that's worked under them, they were fantastic, of course. Venables, Don Howe, brilliant. He should know better. But he just wants to play, I don't know, his dull, useless, crap tactics that are boring the hell out of everyone, and it's negative. You're getting nowhere with it. You've got to get the attacking. You need the attackers. It's like here, as AFC always is saying, they could get a 4-3-3 formation. An attacking one. You've got to get these players forward. You've got to get out of your own half. Don't be afraid. He's scared, isn't he? He's a coward, as you said before, I think. He's such a coward. Get these players on an attack. Entertain. That's what we want to see, England. Yeah, we want to win. Yeah, ideally, we don't want to concede a lot of goals. But, you don't. That's the only way you'll score is if you go forward, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I was just wondering, could you sort of carry on a little bit, Manny? Because I'm actually eating, mate. If that's like, I've just got a food order, and
that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine.
I'm sorry, man, but
no, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
Cheers, bro. I won't be too long. Okay.
No, you take your time with that. And obviously, the question here from AFC All was, do you think England will be better in a 4-3-3 formation? What I would like to see is, of course, a 4-3-3 formation which can transition into a 4-2-3-1 as and when required. The central entity in that 4-3-3 formation, or wherever that person may be, should end up coming up into the number 10 role, and then you have the two holding midfielders being the double defensive midfield pivot. So a 4-3-3 could work. We use that more often than not in the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, and we didn't do too badly there. I know in the earlier parts of the tournament we were using a 4-2-3-1 with Bellingham playing in that defensive midfield role, but I think my concern and the concern of several other fans is, having seen the best of Jude as a number 10 and seeing his attacking instincts there, you cannot sit. I just don't know if it would be fair to ask him to keep back, to stay back and hold himself back to cover for the defensive inadequacies of the other midfielders. And the fact that Southgate doesn't have a ready replacement for Calvin Phillips, according to him, that's his own damn fault. So he has to try and make do with what he has. He has selected, of course, Adam Wharton. Kobbie Mainoo could, in theory, play that role, although he wasn't exactly at his best against Iceland. So these are things that Southgate can consider. I think he was willing to change from a 4-2-3-1 into a 4-3-3 during the World Cup. There's no reason why he can't change his formation now. The only problem is, instead of Rashford, who normally would be trusted to play as that left-sided winger on either side of Harry Kane, with maybe Saka on his own Saka up front to Kane's right. He doesn't have Rashford, but he's trying to shoehorn Foden in there, and it doesn't work. And Foden normally plays on the right for Manchester City, and this is a big problem as well. What he saw from the friendlies, he had someone like Anthony Gordon who could definitely do a fine job on the left. He certainly has pace to burn. You've got to try to do something. You've got to, make some changes and see if something works. And if something isn't working, you've got to have the courage and the wherewithal to change it. The biggest problem is that people are going to take a look at us and try and gaslight us, saying we shouldn't complain because, for what it's worth, we do have 4 points while Denmark have 2, and Denmark and Slovenia have 2, and Serbia are propping up the group with 1. But we, had the opportunity to qualify as group winners, and we mucked it up. It's just really,
Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day.
You bet. It strikes me as being utterly, ill-advised and haphazard and cack-handed. And, sooner or later, people start to, see through you. There's always a proverb. There's a proverb I always remember. Bovine manure might get you to the top. It's not going to keep you there. And people are soon going to see right through you. This isn't necessarily to say that Gareth Southgate is a BSer, but, sooner or later, people are going to start analysing everything carefully and seeing what you're all about as a manager. And you could say that the early success that Southgate enjoyed with the World Cup final and the Euro semi-final, I think they gave people a wonderful illusion, but now people are starting to see through that. And, of course, playing Trent in midfield doesn't work, but playing him at right back doesn't work. The best position for Trent Alexander-Arnold would be as a right winger or a right wing back. And yet we're not seeing that happen. And I see you shared an article there from the Daily Mail. Gareth Southgate. I actually thought that he'd be more fond of. I actually thought he'd be more fond of pizza than fried chicken, given that he did that Pizza Hut advertisement with Stuart Pearce and Chris Waddle.
No, he's in the post.
Yeah, and but I'll tell you what, this is also another thing we can talk about another day. While those 3 guys ended up doing a Pizza Hut advertisement, you had Rashford, Sancho, and Saka being subject to vile abuse, and that is something terrible, we can deal.
That is terrible.
That's something we should deal with another day, and we will have more opportunities to do that, given how rabid our media are. But you've shared an article that
isn't it down to skin colour? Do you think, Manny? Isn't it down to skin colour? Not right, is it? That's not right.
it's definitely not right, and people are, really up in arms over that, and rightly so.
Yeah.
And it's just it's disgusting from the media, and especially if
Mm,
you wanted to, use someone as a scapegoat for the Ireland debacle. There were many other people you could use. What about John Stones, whose defending was pretty poor for
yeah,
that goal? What about Kieran Trippier, who looked like a duck out of water at left back? What
exactly.
about Phil Foden, who put in an absolute
Yeah,
disaster class? Oh no, we've got to use the guys of colour,
yeah.
and
I would say even
you know.
Bellingham weren't that great this time. I know he's coloured, but like coloured or whatever. But I'm saying he didn't actually even perform this time, did he? Really? He was
Yeah,
decent in
not
the first game, but
he
at
had some moment. He
Rice,
had some, yeah, that Rice is another one. I mean,
mm,
Bellingham has had his moments, obviously, and he had his runs against
mm,
Denmark, but that's pretty much, the thing with it. And we can talk about that another day. But I'm very interested to see why you've shared this article from the Daily Mail. I call it the Daily Fail, of
yeah,
course.
I'll go into it.
It's nowhere near as bad as the UK's Red Tops, but go ahead and read it, mate. We'd love to hear what they have to say.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I definitely will. And I thought this hit the nail on the head perfectly. I thought this says it all. England were awful, sloppy, fatigued, lifeless, and tepid against Denmark, say the pundits, as they put the boot into Gareth Southgate's hapless team. Pundits, including former England footballers, slammed the team as awful and sloppy as they were held to a frustrating 1-1 draw by Denmark at Euro 2024. England were also described as fatigued, lifeless, and tepid after struggling to impose themselves in their second Group C outing in Frankfurt, Germany. Among those hitting out of the players were former England captain Alan Shearer, who said he felt there was no excuse, exactly, for a performance that lacked energy. Shearer, working for the BBC, said, "You can see players lying on their backs. They look absolutely shattered, the England players. There's no excuse for that. There was no energy, no pace to the game. We didn't run in behind until the last 10 or 15 minutes. We got caught too many times on the ball, too many sloppy passes, and in truth, Denmark were the better team and deserved to win." Exactly. Pardon me. And yeah, they're all laying into him. Roy Keane, of course, he never holds back. Gary Lineker, Rio Ferdinand, both critical. It was very poor. It wasn't good enough. I wouldn't say lack of effort, not trying, but there's so much more to come from those players. Shearer 53 added awful performance, particularly after going up in the game, like he did against Serbia, of course, and didn't follow on, didn't do, continue getting goals and ramming home our position of being in the lead. Harry Kane's opener at the Frankfurt Arena was cancelled out by a fine strike from Denmark's Morten Hjælmand, which was a great
Hjælmand.
strike.
Yep.
Hjælmand, yep. And former England defender Rio Ferdinand bemoaned the tactics adopted by manager Gareth Southgate. Asked about performance, Ferdinand said, "Lacklustre, lacked any sort of direction in my eyes, tactically well below par. We were overshadowed tactically, I thought, by the Denmark team. You have to give them that respect. They were well drilled, tactically superior, pressed us better, pressed us together." And there we go. And that's the shot of the goal. You couldn't really see it going fully, but in off the post, great strike, but terrible from us. I thought England looked very average. Our best players, our most decisive players, our best players are at the top of the pitch, and we choose to set up to defend. We got two good players to sit back and hope to get through a game. We need to get to the bottom of. Are they being told to do this, or are the players actually just being forced to do that by the opposition? BBC host Gary Lineker branded the performance lifeless and tepid. And Jamie Carragher told the Daily Telegraph, "My big worry watching this and for the rest of the tournament, England look absolutely knackered. They can't get close to the ball. The surest sign of fatigue is dropping deep." Meanwhile, Roy Keane told ITV, "Courage and bravery, we're not really seeing it. There's something missing with the balance." Jude Bellingham is waving his arms that this is a big test for Gareth. It looks like he's overthinking things. Even Prince William weren't happy, look. So he was peed off with it. It comes after boos greeted the final whistle as England missed the chance to top their European Championship group with a game to spare. Serbia's late equaliser against Slovenia in the early kick-off meant the Euro 2020 runners-up knew a win would see them through to the round of 16 as Group C winners. But Hyalman's thumping strike cancelled out Kane's first group stage goal since 2018 as England fumbled their chance at early progress. Southgate's selection and the underwhelming all-round team performance will be pored over in minute detail before facing Slovenia next Tuesday. England started with the same team that beat Serbia and yet again took an early lead, this time through skipper Kane after Kyle Walker caught Victor Christensen napping. But as in Gelsenkirchen, they wobbled after going ahead and Hjelmann's belting 30-yard shot in off the post, foot of a post, saw their Euro 2020 semi-final opponents level. Both sides had chances to win it, but Phil Foden hitting a post before being withdrawn as part of a bold triple substitution that failed to spark an improvement in the flat England performance. England fans let their displeasure be known as Deutsche Bank Park at Deutsche Bank Park, where the poor playing surface, it was poor, terrible, forced Walker into an early change of boots. When the vice-captain returned, he played the ball into Foden to turn away from his man and get away a strike during a cagey start, which came to life after a Danish defensive error. Christensen was so concerned by Bukayo Saka's presence that Walker managed to pick his pocket on the outside, yet driving forward and seeing a low cross ricochet into the path of Kane to slot home from close range. It's more here. Denmark's response to the 18th minute opener was as impressive as England's was alarming. While Southgate's men were defending the box well, they were allowing the Scandinavians too much space outside it, and their pressure told in the 34th minute. Kane swept a pass from a throw-in into no man's land. Yep, with Hjelmand passed the ball and continued to hit a beautiful strike from 30 yards that beat Jordan Pickford and crashed in off a post. The Red Hordes roared as England continued to invite pressure, with Pierre-Emile Højbjerg denied between phone chances. Kane raised his arms in frustration after the first of those openings, having seen the forward take a tame shot rather than slip him in at the end of a stunning run. And here's some more. Declan Rice saw a deflected drive held and Saka bravely heading into the side netting early in the second half, which was only 9 minutes old when Southgate turned to his bench. The ineffective Trent Alexander-Arnold, was replaced by regular midfielder Conor Gallagher as England sought to get a grip on proceedings. Southgate held his head in his hands when a low 25-yard Foden strike cracked a post, with Saka flashing the ball across the face of goal after Gallagher made an important intervention at the other end. But England's pace became nervier as the game wore on, with Southgate introducing a new look front three of Jared Bowen, Eberishi Eze and Ollie Watkins in place of Foden, Saka and Kane. It was a bold move with around 20 minutes remaining and nearly paid immediate dividends, which I was already saying about earlier, with Watkins put in behind by Bellingham and forcing Schmeichel into a save from a tight angle. And but the changes did not spark a noticeable upturn, and Denmark looked most likely to snatch a winner. Højbjerg seemed desperate to score from distance, and the superb Mark Gahey Recovery tackle stopped a dangerous as under bar cross. England looked happy with a point as the clock wound down, a view that their fans in Frankfurt certainly did not share. After the game, Southgate admitted England were struggling to cope with the pressure. Look, clearly we're disappointed with the two performances we've had, said the under-fire England boss, who has to refocus on Tuesday's group finale against Slovenia. We've got to go and analyse that in depth and find some solutions to addressing the issues that we have. Over the next few days, we'll spend a lot of time doing that. Still more. We know the level has to be higher. We know the level can be higher. Maybe the biggest thing is we have to accept the environment that we're in and the expectations that are around us. We are going to have to walk towards that challenge. At the moment, we're falling a little bit short of that, I should say. Ultimately, that's my responsibility. I'm the manager and I've got to guide this group in the best way possible. To achieve extraordinary things, you have to go through some difficult moments. Today was a difficult moment without a doubt, towards the end of the game especially. But England have never won back-to-back qualification matches to start the Euros, I was told yesterday. So there's a reason for that, and we hope to write a different story today. We haven't managed that. We understand what that will mean for the next few days, but we have to stay calm inside the group and find good solutions to improve it. Harry Kane also admitted England were struggling after they were cheered off the pitch. Despite being in a good position to win Group C, Captain Kane conceded the side have fallen short in Germany so far. I think we're struggling both with and without the ball, Kane, who was replaced by Ollie Watkins in the second half, told BBC One. I think the pressure in both games hasn't been right, and with the ball hasn't been good enough. Everyone's dropping below their levels a little bit. It was tough out there, but we're calm. It wasn't our greatest game, but we got away with a point. Right. Anyway, there's a poll here. What should we do this before we leave this, Manny? How do you think England played against Denmark? Solid performance. I agree with the pundits' comments. I disagree, but improvement is needed. I agree with the pundits' comments myself.
Me too. They know what they're talking about. And several of those pundits, I'm talking about Shearer and Ferdinand, have actually played with Southgate. And of course, it was Roy who, in one of his more unsavoury incidents, stamped on Southgate in the groin area, badly injuring him. I mean, how that bloke ends up getting a platform. It was funny listening to Keane saying that sometimes, sorry about that, pardon me. It was fun. It was really disgusting in a way, not funny, but disgusting, listening to him to say that sometimes as a team, you got to hit players. What, the way you hit Alfie Holland on his knee and ended his career? No, thank you, mate. But in this case, most of the pundits have got it absolutely spot on. And, it is a question of what Southgate can do from here. Obviously, in Italia 90, after that draw against Ireland, and we all know about Gary Lineker's incontinence, which pretty much summed up the whole day. And of course, that time around, we had the press.
The way we're playing at the moment, all right. Yeah.
Yep. We had the press also saying, you know what, bring these boys home. They're a disgrace. And even the Italian press was saying, no football, please. We're English. I wonder if the German press would have said something similar after the Denmark game. But, Robson made the changes. He dropped Steve McMahon ended up getting injured. David Platt came in. Mark Wright was used as a sweeper. And the rest is history. We ended up qualifying for the next stage, getting through to the semi-finals, playing better as the tournament went on, and then it just had to be those dreaded penalties. But Southgate now has to earn his respect. It's as simple as that. He has to earn his salary from the FA. And, there are so many reasons why I really cannot, stomach the bloke right now. That Euro 2020 final started to turn me off him in a very big way.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And that's not really a surprise there that 93% of the people have said they agree with the comments, the pundits' comments here. That's no surprise, is it, really?
Nope.
Because mostly everyone does. I mean, what are those 5% and 3% thinking there? Solid performance, 3%. You're right.
I think they probably voted that way to give the poll a little bit of
Yeah.
some variety, a little bit of respectability. But I think those fans, quite frankly, are just taking the mickey. I don't even think they believe what they voted for.
No, because really that should be 100%, shouldn't it? Really,
Yeah.
at the end of the day. But yeah,
or at the very least, no votes for a solid performance.
yeah. or what was the other one? I disagree, but improvement is needed. Well, I think we all know an improvement is needed. It should have been after that first game, but it hasn't, has it? There was no improvement whatsoever. And of course, this thing with Alexander-Arnold, apparently it's an experiment, but I thought we knew that was happening. I think didn't even Klopp try it at Liverpool, him in midfield.
I don't recollect him doing that. He's always played TAA
Right.
as a right back. I don't know if he did that, but it's just one circus after another. It really is. Cue the carry on music and all that nonsense.
Yeah, exactly. But could you agree with that statement that they're lethargic and no energy? I mean, I know they've had a hard season, they've had a long season, as we know. Probably not many of them have actually had a break after the season. But they're all supposed to be supremely fit now, aren't they? They're all really fit, these players, and they're also paid an immense amount of money to play football. Is this all just an excuse?
Of course, it's an excuse. I mean, every time we select a squad for a major championship, we have to select players based on their, supposedly their form and intensity. But we always seem to end up going into the extreme and selecting players who, somehow look a little bit knackered. You can't use tiredness as an excuse, Steve, because every single team in these European championships will be selecting players who played a full season.
Yeah. We can say, we play too many games. I mean, some of the other managers were complaining. Of course, Pep, I think, I remember him complaining at one stage. Oh, we got too many games. Too many games. We're playing too much and all that stuff. And I thought, well, hold on, but you got all the players you got in your squad. You can't cope with that. All the great players you got and whatever. Some of us ain't got that a bigger squad or all those players to choose from. Down the league. And I'm talking Brentford. We haven't got what you got there, and we have to make do with it all. What we're playing in the season, and the other teams down there that are lower teams, the Luton Towns and whatever, Sheffield United, Burnley, and all that were down there, and even the ones above us there, some of those above us that were down there, haven't got that, And I think that's just I didn't like it. I think it's stupid. How you can say that is so wrong. And how can you moan when you go and win the Premiership yet again with that team that you're moaning about? You play too many games and that. So I don't know why these managers win so much, Manny. I don't get it.
Excuses. When all else fails, just have yourself a whinge.
Yeah, exactly. But there's this other one article here I've got here as well, mate, from the Guardian, obviously, and it's obviously doing the ratings as well, of course, of the teams, and I think obviously the Denmark team had the better ratings because I thought they were the better team. And I still don't think they're an amazing team. I don't think they're an incredible, great team, one of the best teams in the world. but they certainly made us look second best. And and obviously they got the ratings here. Schmeichel got a 6 there, and I think one of them saves he made was so reminiscent of his dad. That one against Watkins. What a the star jump thing save. I thought, oh, that's the dad. That's Peter. That's him playing.
Yeah.
And obviously Joachim Andersen got 7. Vestergaard, who I never thought was that special, that great a defender over here. Thought he fouls a lot. He's slow. I don't think he's that brilliant. Yeah, he had a great game, an immense game, because the players against him weren't doing anything. And he got 7 there. And I even think Andreas Christensen was found out over here at Chelsea. But he's doing all right. I think he's doing pretty well where he's gone abroad. I can't remember where he's gone, but I know he's playing fairly well. I think where he went. Joachim Marley. Yeah. Done pretty well as well. I don't really know him much, but he done pretty well. And of course Højbjerg, who's can you say he's that great as well? I mean, you see him at Spurs. I mean, I don't think he lights up the midfield as such. He's a hard worker.
Yeah, he's a hard worker. He reminds me a lot of Gilles Gremondi, who used to play for us. He's not exactly, someone who is bursting with a great deal of, silky talent, but he has bottle, and that is something that teams need. And deceptively, he also has some really good qualities as a footballer, and, you can't help but admire him in a way. But, he also had another good game, and I see a lot of 7s there in the Denmark team.
And obviously Hjulmand, with that goal alone, he's giving him 7. And I never heard of this guy, to be honest, before this. And what a strike, 25 yards, and that's a defender. Not defender, central midfield, isn't he? Oh, sorry, central midfield. I thought he was a defender, but he's obviously central midfield. But yeah, I thought, what a strike, Okay, you got to blame England not cutting it down, not blocking it, getting to him, closing him down. There was that, and obviously the apologetic sort of things, trying to block it, and they're actually moving out the way rather than taking the ball wherever it hit them. And you got to try and take it, no matter where it's going to hit you. Rather than getting out of the way of it. But, at the end of the day, it was a great strike. And it deservedly got them level. I think they deservedly got something out of this game. They deserved to. Victor Christensen. Yeah, of course. He was caught napping by Walker, yeah. I don't know what he was doing there. He had a bit of a brain fade or fart, where it was, and he sort of... he didn't notice Walker coming in, and we know he's got pace, Walker. We know he's got pace, so...
Well, it's ironic because, a punchline could be that Christensen allowed Walker to walk past him.
Yeah. There's a bit of a case of Roy Walker, say what you see. And he did. He went past him, and, Christian Eriksen... I thought he had a good game. He's not the player he was. He's definitely not the player he was, but he's still got the ability. There is still something there. As I say, he skipped into some menacing positions. England struggled to pin him down. Still got it. Yeah, I think he has. I don't think he is as great as he used to be. I don't think he's lost something there. But then you do, obviously, he had that horrible thing with his heart stopping and that. So, it was terrible. But when we got him at Brentford, we could see he was still a quality player. He still had it. We could see that. And it was such a shame he left. But he went on to bigger things, bigger money at Man United. I could say I'm a little bit better still, but I wish he had stayed. I think we showed faith in him when others didn't. And how did he repay that? He buggered off to Man United for a lot of money. But I'm not bitter at all, Manny. He's all right. But anyway, yeah. So Jonas wind. I say he's put plenty of wind into the attack. A lot of force into it. Worked hard and occupied England centre backs. An old-fashioned front two was a throwback from Denmark. Yep, he got a 6 as well. And of course, Højlund, who we know about at Man United. Rasmus Højlund caused problems with his movement, strong and quick, but he lacked incisiveness before going off. That is the thing with him. He's got it. He's big. He's strong. He's a young guy, of course, but he's still got it. He's got it. He's got ability, and he can score goals. We know that. He's just a bit raw, I think. Still, he's just got a bit to learn. I think a little bit to go. Before he's a really good player. What do you think about that, Manny?
Højlund, right? Yeah, obviously, the Rasmus had been watching and waiting in the shadows for his time at United. With Denmark, I think he's been given his chance reasonably early, but as you say, he does look to be a little bit raw. And you take a look at the ratings, of course. The Denmark team were not at 6s and 7s, but you see 6s and 7s all across the board, with Christensen, the only one being given a 5. And even the substitutes, Poulsen, Damsgaard.
Yep. Yeah.
Your Brentford boys. Your Brentford boys.
Right,
Scott Olsen. They all came on and did a pretty good job and ended up getting 6s for themselves. So you could say that with this Denmark team, their whole will always be greater than the sum of their parts. And that's why you can never, ever, ever take them for granted.
Yeah.
And you can never just, you can never write them off. Write them off at your own peril. Simple as that. Now, of course, they are tied with Slovenia for second in the group. But given that Slovenia have to play England and Denmark play a Serbian team that has not been able to, fire on all cylinders and ended up saving their themselves from an early elimination with a breathlessly late equaliser against Slovenia. I fancy Denmark to do whatever they need to do to get through. Yeah. And they could be in a situation where they end up drawing all 3 games and still going through. I know it kind of sounds silly. It reminds me a great deal in many ways of the Republic of Ireland almost, when they drew all of their games in Italia 90 and ended up going through to the next stage. I know it sounds kind of silly, but that Egyptian team also in that tournament proved that they weren't mugs.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we're fine, Luca. How you doing, mate, as well? I was on his watch along the other day, Luca, so that was good, on the Scotland-Switzerland, where Scotland got an important point, I thought, out of that. Gives them still a chance. I know it's hard, it's against Hungary, they've got to get, is it 4 goals or something?
Yeah, Hungary, right? Yeah, Scotland obviously, will have you're right. Scotland will need to try and overcome the goal difference, but there could also be a situation where Scotland just get a win and still, by virtue of their 4 points, end up being in a good position to go through as a top quality 3rd place team. Yeah. But ideally, you want to make sure you go for a heavy win and a good win. And Hungary won't be easy. They actually limited the damage against Germany in many ways to only 2 goals, whereas Scotland shipped 5. And the players that Hungary have in their team, they will still be looking to be creative and run rings around them. I know that Scotland, Steve Clarke finally came to his senses by bringing back Gilmour into the side. And obviously, without Kieran Tierney, who sustained yet another terrible injury,
terrible, yeah.
it will be Scott McKenna coming in. But hopefully Scotland can do the job. And we've got Hanno saying the cricket has to start.
Yeah.
It's not going to start for another 2 hours. Calm down, Dwight.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I've got a review to do before then, so I hope it don't start too soon. But yeah, I've got to do that.
It'll be starting in another couple of hours at about 3:30 UK time, so you should be fine, mate.
Yeah, cool. Still got a lot to get through here, but won't be too much longer now. Yeah. Oh, it says England did play a 4-3-3. We did. Yeah. Yeah,
It must have been that. It might have started as a 4-3-3, but then moved to a 4-2-3-1, and we still didn't, really start well. Some of these papers and news sites can vary with their information, but you can go through the ratings, and I think John Stones. I don't know if you would agree with that, though.
7? What? You having a laugh? 7? He's lucky I don't give him a bloody 3 or something. That's terrible. Who's done this article? Who's putting this? Jacob Steinberg. Where's your brain, mate? I'm sorry. Are you watching a different game or what? Well, I want to know. No. I don't know if that's him who has given the ratings, but it might be someone else. But anyway, I think they need to go to bloody Specsavers, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah. I think Kyle Walker done okay. He did make some errors, but not as bad. I don't think he was nowhere near as bad as Stones. Geehy, of course. I think he's quite decent. I mean, yeah, he made the mistake, but he got back and done it. Made that recovery tackle, which was important. I think he was fairly solid there again. Trippier, yeah, definitely not a left back, nowhere near. But what can they do? Who else can they put there? I suppose that's the problem. With no Shaw being fit, or if he is, I don't know if he is. If he is, he's got to go there then, because there's no proper left back we got. Yeah, and Alexander Arnold, I pretty much agree with that 4. He was poor. I really did think he was poor there. I mean, he has got passing ability. We know he has. He's got long range pass. I think there was one really good one, wasn't it, for I think Geehy in the second half when he got it over the top and he sort of tried to cut it back, but it was still high in the air and he kicked it into the side netting, trying to cross it. But yeah, I don't think. No, he's not. He's not that. Not central midfielder. I'm not even sure he's a right back. Don't know what he is really in football. Yeah, Declan Rice. Not his greatest game, was it? To be honest, 4. Yeah, 4 in possession. Yeah, it wasn't. He wasn't great at all. And even as I said, Bellingham sloppy. Yeah. Lost the ball too much, wanted too much time, lacked urgency, a wake-up call, yeah. Yeah, totally agree. And Saka, I think he had good moments at times. There were some decent things, but not enough. He's still too weak and gets knocked off the ball too easy. He needs to sort his core strength out and whatever, definitely. Yeah, forced the ball on for the opener, but Denmark closed down the passing avenues to him. Yeah, Harry Kane. Yeah, did score the goal, but of course, as we know, he also gifted the other one with a pass. Yeah, and so he should be furious with himself after giving it away. Phil Foden, yeah, one super run. I did remember that. He went through past 2 or 3 players with the ball. But I think it was a weak shot at the end of it, straight at the goalie. Yeah, one super run, right in the middle, less effective on flank. Yeah, of course, hit the post. Yeah, of course, he did hit the post. Can't forget that, really. Even then, though, I don't think it was an amazing shot, but it hit the post. So, yeah, Conor Gallagher, don't know what to make of him. He only got 5. He was, I said he was secure, but his passing not great. Definitely, I agree. Eze at times looked like he could do something, but he says he struggled to impose himself after coming on. And of course, Watkins, I think, was probably one of the better subs they brought on. I think he was great. You could see him getting in behind. That's what he does at Villa. He runs off the defender, off the shoulder of the defender, and he gets in behind. He's got the pace. He's got that pace, and generally he can finish. Obviously, this time he was denied, as we know, by Schmeichel. But he did make a difference, I think. You need that at times. You need somebody to be able to run in behind, had that pace, had the power to run in behind and do something. And Kane doesn't always do that. But yeah, I thought that he was good. I think he deserves a start, to be honest. Watkins, I don't know about you, Manny.
Yeah, the problem is that if you were to replace Kane with Watkins, Watkins and Kane are completely different strikers. Watkins really is at his best, sort of playing off the number 9. I don't know if he would work as a target man. And I know that at times, at Aston Villa, Unai Emery has played a 4-4-1-1 and occasionally, played Watkins on his own. But you can just see that he needs a little bit of support. He doesn't thrive necessarily without that support, being the main central person. And someone like an Ivan Toney, and I know you absolutely do not like him right now, but he is more of the like-for-like replacement for Kane, somewhat muscular bloke. Someone who should have been considered would have been Dominic Solanke from Bournemouth. 6 foot 4,
I kept saying that as well, Manny.
Also gets into good positions, and he also would have been a great option. So I get the idea of actually wanting to replace Harry Kane. I agree that he deserves to be dropped, but if you were to bring Watkins in and not play him as part of a strike duo, then once again you're going to waste that talent. And Hannah has an interesting question here. Thoughts on people wanting Gallagher and Rice as a pivot? I think I can speak for a lot of those fans, and maybe you can, Steve. I don't know when I say no, because a lot of people are saying that Gallagher was also not really as
I agree.
effective. Yeah. And I know, Hannah, that you saw the best of, or something resembling the best of Gallagher at Chelsea, but so far for England, whenever he's come on as a substitute, he hasn't really been able to, own it, as it were.
Yeah, I agree. I agree totally, mate. But yeah, I don't know. They got to change it now, though, man. He's got to go with something else. I think you got to have. I think you got to have more going forward. You got to have Palmer. You got to have people like that up there, Gordon. And try and play. I know this is still. They're saying it's important now. We can't really afford to experiment as much, because if we had qualified, we got to win against Denmark. He could have played a totally different team, experimental team, with a load of fringe players, load of second string or whatever you call them. He could have put them all on, but now he's got to sort of put a more stronger, experienced team in against them, I suppose.
Agree completely.
Unfortunately, because I would have loved to have seen like the second team giving a go. These other players, you got them there. Let's see what they can do. The likes of this Wharton and all that. I mean, these other players, these top players, the first team players, are underperforming. The likes of Rice, the likes of Bellingham, Foden, they're all underperforming. So why can't we have these other lot in? See what they can do.
Absolutely.
That's what I think.
Couldn't agree more.
Because you want to get somewhere. You want to win these games. You want to be entertaining. You got to put the better entertaining players in there, attacking players, the positive players, the likes of Palmer, the likes of Eze, the likes of the rest there, Mainu and all that, and Morton and whatever. Get them in. Let's see what they're made of. In a big tournament.
Absolutely.
Don't be scared. He is a coward, as you said, Manny. I think Southgate is a coward.
Exactly, and as I said,
can't
Bobby
roll the
Robson.
dice.
Exactly, and if Bobby Robson were brave enough to play, Bobby Robson was brave enough, of course, to play Paul Gascoigne, Stuart Pearce, David Platt after bringing them into the team after Euro '88. There's no reason why Southgate shouldn't have the courage of his own convictions as such. But I'm glad you agree with me. He's a coward. He's spineless.
Yeah.
The turncoat in the waistcoat, as I call him.
There's stronger names I could think for him, but I won't be mentioning them here. But no, I mean, no, but I wouldn't say that. But I just feel, he's got to change it, but I can't see him doing it. So what do you think? What do you think the team could be for the next? Do you think it's going to go pretty much the same, or do you think there will be at least some changes somewhere?
Well, regrettably or not, I don't see any changes in the back four because, if Stones continues to get these sort of ratings, apparently a lot of people will say he has to be there, but many of us can see that he just doesn't look the same without his old partner in crime. I would like to see Ezri Konsa come in to take his place, but I don't think that'll happen. As far as Walker is concerned, he's still showing that he is more than capable. I thought he looked a little bit ordinary in the pre-tournament friendlies, but he somehow managed to get his act together, so credit to him. But if I never see Trent Alexander-Arnold in that midfield role for the remainder of the tournament, it will be too soon. Play him as a right winger in the 4-4-2. Play him as a right wing back in a back five or a back three, but not as a central midfielder again. I can't have that. And should Bellingham be rested? That's another conundrum because apparently a lot of people have said that he wasn't quite at his best against Denmark. Play him to his strengths. Give him a proper defensive midfield behind him, and he'll cook. We don't have a defensive midfield. We've got a patched-up defense and an imbalanced midfield, and people say that because of our attack, we've got an amazing chance of winning. And yet we still sit back and defend. Make it make sense, mate. So
I know. I agree.
So if he has to make some changes, drop Trent and bring in either Kobbie Mainoo or someone like an Adam Wharton to play that role. See how they perform. And if they do well, then you end up having your defensive midfield duo for the rest of the tournament. I'm not too sure about Mainoo because a lot of the United fans will say that he is much better playing as a slightly more attacking midfielder who likes to go up a little bit. I don't know if he would necessarily be too comfortable playing in that defensive midfield pivot. And I want to actually take a look at the FA Cup final to take a look at the position that he played in, because we can sort of get an idea of how well he'd be suited. And I was speaking with another Manchester United fan on Nipun Sharma's Eurocast. I wasn't able to get on the other one, but he was telling me as well that according to this particular formation, Mainoo actually did play as the defensive pivot alongside Amrabat, but it was more of a 4-2-2-2 formation in a way. And, he had Fernandes and McTominay up front, although McTominay probably would have been playing as a 10. I'm not too sure. I guess Mainoo can play the role, but again, you also have to wonder if it could, whether or not that particular role would necessarily suit him in a game like this. And, you've also got McTominay, who's definitely a lot more defensive minded and who can also provide some impetus as well. I just don't know if, could Bellingham play the McTominay role? We'll have to see. So I take out Trent. shove in either Mainu or Wharton. Just give it a try, for heaven's sake. And
Yeah.
as far as the three up front, I think Kane will have to remain on, because I really do not want to see Ollie Watkins on that field for England unless he's part of a striker duo, because on his own he could end up being even more isolated. Saka stays, drop Foden and bring in someone like an Anthony Gordon or even a Cole Palmer. Do something different.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you actually say that? Do you think Saka is doing enough though out there, Manny, on the right? Is he doing enough? I mean, you can still see him. He's getting pushed over. He's lacked strength still. I think he's not strong enough somewhere. He's not built up enough strength. So is that a worry still that he can't be? He's getting knocked off too easy. They're full. Big strong defenders in against him, and then knocking him over just like that. He's just got no.
Saka starts wonderfully well in games. He starts well. He makes some good dribbles, has some good skills, but then, he just fades away a little bit too quickly, and that's my big worry for him more than anything else. I think he is going to have to learn to toughen up and maybe bulk up a little bit more. But I think he's actually done pretty well these Euros, unlike Phil Foden. There is a part of me that thinks that maybe if you want to give Saka a rest, just stick Foden on the right in the position he feels comfortable playing in at Manchester City, and you can see the best of him. But again, it's cluelessness from Southgate. You just don't know what he's playing at, really.
No. So really, what can we see happening? It's Slovenia. Do you think we should be beating them? Really, shouldn't we? You can see that. I mean, if we didn't beat them, we're still through, aren't we? Would you say?
If we don't beat them, then we should be able to qualify with 5 points, courtesy of the 3 for the win against Serbia and 2 draws. It'll be a bit underwhelming, though, And we had our chance, as I said, to qualify as group winners by beating Denmark, but we flopped miserably. And, now we have to make sure that we raise our game for this particular match. And of the 2 teams that are likely to, qualify with us from the group, I would say that Denmark have the better chance as long as they can make sure. I mean, because they need to, assuming, of course, that we beat. That we beat Slovenia, it could very well be down to a coin toss or even fair play issues between Denmark and Slovenia to see who come in second if Denmark draw. But if Denmark beats Serbia, then that's it. They pretty much punched their ticket alongside us, and so again, it could come down to. It could come down to goal difference. If Denmark score more than us, they qualify as group winners. I believe Denmark and England should qualify from the group. Slovenia have a really good chance. Serbia have got to go all out for it. Beating Denmark is the only way that they can go even further, and yet I don't really see that happening. I think Stojkovic's, cowardice in not starting Dusan Tadic cost them against us. Otherwise, the way we played, they could have actually gotten something against us, and they failed to do that. And, there is a big headline, of course, from the world of football. Wales may have made the decision to sack their manager, Robert Page, after 2.5 years in charge. And I will share the article with your permission, of course.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, go for it, man. Yeah.
So, hold on, share screen. And this is, of course, another example of how sometimes, when things really don't work, you've got to be ruthless enough to make the decisions. Now, obviously, we haven't had as bad results in recent times as Wales have had. And I'd like to think that if Wales had managed to beat Poland in the Euro qualification playoff, then Page would almost certainly have kept his job. But this is sort of the headline right here. Wales have sacked manager Robert Page after 3.5 years in charge. The 49-year-old led his country to a first World Cup in 64 years and guided them to the second round of Euro 2020. But sadly, he's had to pay the price for Wales' failure to qualify for Euro 2024. And this month's miserable friendly displays against Gibraltar and Slovakia, where they lost 4-0, of course, to that team, who are, of course, playing today against the Ukraine, I might add. In fact, I believe the match has just started right now, and that proved to be the final straw. Yeah. And the Football Association of Wales bosses held talks for more than a week and came to an agreement that a change was needed. And following a disappointing performance in Qatar, Page faced heavy criticism after an embarrassing home defeat by Armenia during qualifying for 2024. They responded with a brilliant victory over Croatia, but their hopes of reaching a third successive European Championship ended in agonizing fashion as they were beaten on penalties in the playoff final against Poland in March. And of course, Turkey and Croatia qualified from that group ahead of them. The FAW back page in the aftermath of that disappointment, with President Steve Williams saying that the former centre-back would be in charge for the qualifying campaign. But sadly, after these results, less than 3 months down the line, they decided that a change is needed. And so it could very well be that several players who have, served Wales over the years will almost certainly be told that their services are no longer required. And it will be difficult. The likes of Wayne Hennessy, you see in the picture here, consoling Dan James after that penalty miss. Probably one of Wales's greatest ever keepers up there alongside Neville Southall. But he hasn't had any game time for Nottingham Forest. And it will remain to be seen what his future holds the following season. Will there be any clubs interested in him? He might end up retiring. And don't get me wrong, I do not rate Danny Ward as a goalkeeper at all. I know that some fans are really keen on, singing his name to the tune of Boney M's "Daddy Cool," but there's nothing really cool about Danny, and I don't even know if he is a daddy. And I'm sure his own daddy would be a better goalkeeper than him. All I can say is that those fans who sing that are crazy like a fool. Yeah. Anyway, back to the article. Dave Adams, the FAW's chief football officer, said, "I'd like to thank Rob for his work with the association over the last 7 years, firstly as the under-21s head coach, and then onto the role of Wales head coach. And of course, like Southgate, you see, he was with the youth team and then earned promotion upwards after that whole fiasco with Ryan Giggs. Giggsy, you should have known better, son." And Noel Mooney, the chief executive, said, "On behalf of myself and the entire FAW, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to Rob for his commitment and dedication to his roles for the national teams. Under his leadership, our Cymru men's team has achieved significant milestones and victories, which have created many incredible memories for our nation, most notably our first World Cup in 64 years. Wales endured a desperate June international window in which a youthful side drew with the minnows of Gibraltar before a much stronger lineup were thumped 4-0 in Slovakia. And of course, Wales were without a host of first-team players for both matches, but it didn't stop Page facing boos and heavy criticism from fans after both matches. And basically, after that defeat, he said, "The fans want me out. I completely understand. I've got to stay true to myself and focused on the job in hand. Everything else is out of my control." And as I mentioned, he became Wales boss in 2020, taking over for Ryan Giggs on a temporary basis initially, but then got the job permanently. He helped Wales secure promotion to the top tier of the Nations League for the first time, and also won praise for guiding Wales through the group stages at Euro 2020, although in the second round they were dumped out unceremoniously, courtesy of another 4-0 thrashing, this time by our recent opponents, Denmark. They did beat Ukraine in the playoff to reach the World Cup, where Gareth Bale scored that memorable winning goal, but Wayne Hennessy literally had the game of his life. And of course, Hennessy was the goalkeeper in Wales' stunning run to the Euro 2016 semi-finals under then manager Chris Coleman, but then made an early exit in Qatar, only taking 1 point from their 3 group matches, being beaten by Iran and England, and of course securing a fighting draw against the US team. He was handed a new contract, Page, running until 2026 before the tournament, but now he's left his post before the return of the Nations League in September. And his time in charge of Wales has seen him win 15 games, draw 15 games, and lose 15 games out of the 45 matches. So basically, you could say that he has a sort of a differential of zilch, and those last 2 losses didn't help. And so Wales's next game will be the Nations League opener against their Euro 2024 qualifying nemesis Turkey. and they have a trip to Montenegro coming 3 days later. And qualifying for the World Cup for the European nations will begin in the spring of 2025. So this gives you an idea that some football associations are going to take the step of being ruthless and saying, you know what, you've done brilliantly for us, but we have to make a change. I don't see that happening with the FA, because obviously, the results he had earlier have been wonderful. But there are so many other factors, like the whole perception of Southgate and the media and all that rubbish. But something will happen, and maybe Gareth Southgate will end up leaving. There's a part of me that thinks that if we fail to reach the quarterfinals this time, he could end up deciding, you know what, it might be time for me to leave, and then maybe that'll give the FA the chance to hire someone new.
So who could you see going into that Wales job now then, Manny? Who do you think's a top candidate for that job?
Well, I could have said Steve Cooper, mind you, who, despite having managed the England under-17 team as they won the World Cup, which was held over here in India, mind you, he is of course a Welshman. Then, of course, moved on to Nottingham Forest. Why Leicester saw it fit to hire him after the departure of Enzo Maresca will beat me. I think there could have been other managers available, but Cooper would certainly have responded well, and maybe he would have gotten along.
Can Bellamy hold the job for a little while temporarily or something? Craig Bellamy?
As has, oops.
Oh, you're going off there, mate. You're freezing and that as well. Sound's gone off.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Right.
Also, Wayne Hennessy has played a few games, although I don't know if Hennessy's international career. Can you hear me now? Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, can hear you now, mate.
So it'll be difficult to predict who could possibly come into the. It will be difficult to predict who could possibly come, fill the void left by Robert Page, and they're going to have to really search high and low for a really, really good candidate. It's hard, mate. I mean, I don't even know. Would they want to go for a native Welshman? Would they be willing to go for another British/Irish coach within the home nations? Would they perhaps want maybe a foreigner? It will be difficult to see. But obviously, with the decision having been made earlier today, they will start the process of getting a new coach. I really hope that they don't do what Ireland have done and go for a more interim option. I know that John O'Shea...
Craig Bellamy?
No, mate. No.
Just for temporarily, I mean, not full time.
Yeah, but the thing is, Steve, I was about to say that I hope that Wales don't go for a temporary manager like Ireland have done. And John O'Shea, obviously, has taken the. I wouldn't necessarily say he hasn't cut it. He's done his best, and I don't know if the FAI are willing to actually, let him stay on in the job. But of course, the fact that they aren't willing to. This is the same FAI who were willing to hire Giovanni Trapattoni at the time. And now they've literally gone backwards to, Mick McCarthy, who did a decent job, I will admit. Stephen Kenny was a disaster. And now John O'Shea. Yeah, Martin O'Neill actually did quite well, although I think it's fair to say that Euro 2016, he was fortunate to have the continued availability of the likes of Robbie Keane and Shea Given and other players. O'Shea, of course, was a member of that team, but then once they announced their retirement, it was a bit difficult for them to continue, and they did do well to reach the playoffs for qualifying for the 2018 World Cup, but Denmark gave them an absolute pasting. I mean, they turned them into they made Irish stew out of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And of course, a certain Christian Eriksen was, at the forefront of that result. And as far as Wales are concerned, they're going to have to look really high and low. I'd like to think that with their success over the last decade, they could potentially hire a coach who would have been impressed enough by them. But it's very difficult for me to really put a finger on who could, manage them. And but they're going to try their best. I'm sure they're not going to let some temporary appointment, take up the job. and it has to be some. I mean, obviously Rob Page came in under difficult circumstances with Giggsy and his issues, taking center stage, and Giggs obviously deciding to quit rather than continue to be a distraction.
Mm.
It'll remain to be seen, actually, who could, fill in the void, and I'll be following those developments, and we will
Nathan
talk
Jones,
about that.
could he be thought of? One, Nathan Jones.
Who, the guy's been gone too long? I'm not too sure about that, to be honest. We'll have to see. I mean, I don't know too much about I will have to do some research about current Welsh managers, and that is something that we will talk about later on. Obviously, once Wales make their selection, we might decide to talk about this in the next stream. So we'll look into that. But back to Southgate, I think if we do have a bad result this time around in the Euros, and maybe questions will be asked, but maybe Southgate himself will decide, you know what, I've been in the job for about 6 years. It's starting to be a little bit draining. I don't know if I may have the energy for the World Cup qualifying campaign and the subsequent tournament should we qualify. So we'll see what happens. All we can do is watch the space.
Definitely. So what are we gonna predict, like a score or anything? Or do you think we're gonna actually play a lot better though? We know we can play better than this, surely. And whatever team he puts out there, have got to go for this, haven't they? They've got to say, "Oh, we want to be here. We want to get through. We want to." Because I think if you finish second, that would have Germany, wouldn't we? If we finish second.
Let me take a look at the Euro draw and find out for you, because I'd like to think, especially that if we can't afford to finish second under any circumstances anyway, because that would obviously mean that we'd get a really, really big hitting team, and
I'm sure. I think they said it'd be Germany. Maybe we finish second.
Yeah, I want to take a look at the draw. Spain, of course, have already qualified. Now, we are in Group B, are we not?
Is it B? Yeah, I think so. Is it B?
Yeah. So as things stand, what happened if we were to finish as runners-up in Group B? We face the runner-up of Group A in Berlin, and the runner-up of Group A will either be Switzerland or Hungary, because I think Germany, have. I can't see beyond Germany topping the group. All they need is to draw against Switzerland, and they secure their spots. So it will probably be Switzerland to join Germany, or Hungary. I think I wouldn't mind it if Scotland finished runners up, but I don't see that happening. I think their best chance would be to finish as a best third place team, and they could end up either facing the winner of Group F, or they could face Spain, or the winner of Group E. So those are some permutations we have to consider. We're not going to finish third in Group B, but if we do manage to win Group B, I want to find out who we will face. Hold on a minute, please.
Probably have probably a better chance against probably a second best, not one of the best teams, not a Germany or whatever, or trying to think who the others were. Obviously, as you say, Hungary and all that. Because I think it is out of that group, isn't it? We'd have to play the Germany group. So,
yeah, for some reason, the winner of Group B has not explicitly been mentioned here. So I'm just, it's a bit of a surprise, really. I mean, I know I've got Wikipedia here, and Wikipedia is not really a good source, but still, it will, of course, remain to be seen who we end up playing. But ideally, Steve, we want to try and finish top of the group, and then we'll find out who we end up playing. And it might not be a very, very big team in that regard. But we'll have to see how things pan out. I don't want to finish second. I definitely don't want to see us finishing third. But that's sort of the way it will be done here. And No, wait a minute. Spain have already qualified as winners of Group B. Which is our group? Which is our group? Let me find out our group. Yeah, that was a real case of mental flatulence there. We are in Group C. We're in Group C.
Group C, yeah, I thought so.
Right. So the runner-up in Group C does play the winner of Group A, and if it's us who end up runners-up in Group C, I do not want to play Germany in Dortmund. You're absolutely right.
No, yeah.
And the winner of Group C gets to play a third place from Groups D, E, or F. So if we qualify as winners, we could play. I'm thinking Austria might look like a good candidate we could play.
It's saying here, as things stands, it could be Italy or Switzerland as well. It's saying here, or Albania or Croatia.
From Group A, we could end up playing either Germany or Switzerland, which depending on which of those teams, win the group. If we finish as group runners up, but if we win the group, we get to. We could possibly play a team like Romania or Slovakia or even Belgium are not necessarily out of it yet. So one of those three teams should be able to qualify. I know that it's currently goalless at the moment between Slovakia and the Ukraine after about a quarter of an hour, but I can't see the Ukraine recovering from that horrible loss to the Romanians in their first game.
Yeah.
So far, credit to Trubin, Anatoly Trubin. He's done better than Andrei Lunin. It was a real case of the Looney Tunes that particular day, but Trubin has stayed true to himself. And Group F, that's Portugal's group, so it could be either Turkey or the Czech Republic that we could play. So those are our options. And as far as the Slovenia game is concerned, I'm confident enough to predict a 2-1 win, but we have to start scoring goals, Steve. There's no excuse. We've only scored 2 so far, one from Bellingham and one from Kane. And this from supposedly the best attack in the tournament. As Roy Keane would say, do me a favour.
You know what, actually, man, I'm going to go 2-0 to England. I think we can keep a clean sheet. I didn't see much from Slovenia that, I think anything dangerous there, anything to fear, I know they got a draw against, who was it, Serbia, of course, last minute or whatever, 1-1. But I don't think they've got that much there. I can't see them being a real danger up front. So I think we can at least get a couple of goals here. I think we can definitely play better. We've got to play better than those first 2 games. There are good enough players here. We have got good enough players, surely. And they got to start turning up. And I think hopefully they will in this game now, this third game. So I really do. So I'm going 2-0 there. Ideally, of course, we don't want Germany. We don't want to face Germany yet again. But because they're not a soft touch this time. I think we done them easily in that Euros because they weren't that great a team then. I don't think they was that great, were they, in that group? So we had it fairly easy against them. So, but this time we know what dangerous players they got. The Musialas and all that, Verts and so forth. Not really good players this time. So, so hopefully we'll get through and win it. We'll win the group, top the group. I hope so. I really do. But anyway, Manny, where can we find you, mate?
Well, to answer your question, you can find me on both of your channels, Mr. B, the Hiver Football channel and also the one where we talk England cricket.
Yeah.
Also, you can catch me on the likes of Del Boy Gunner TV, Coach's Corner, obviously with Hanno, Oris Talk Football, Up the Cherries in all departments, the Bournemouth fan channel. Also, Huddersfield Town fan TV on a few occasions. I've started to do a little bit more work with him, obviously, and we could be doing a lot more work together for the European campaign. We'll have to see. Also, Danny AFC TV, Tony Claude Gunner TV, Spurs U Asia TV, AFC Talk Show TV, Gun Down UK with them, Carl. We do the Flammable Thursdays and Saturday Night Fever video series. Also, the Southern Gooner. and several other channels, of course, which can't really name at present, but probably because I'm sort of crunched for time and I've got some work to do, but all very important to me as always. And nothing much more to say because I know that we've got a lot of other things to do. But all I can say to everyone is I hope you all enjoy the sport that's taking place at the moment, be it the football or the cricket as well, where at least our England team are starting to get their act together. And we will talk about that, obviously, with a stream coming up later on. Our good friend Steve will take care of that. But until then, take care of yourselves. Have a good, enjoy yourselves. Be safe and be happy, and don't do anything that Mr. B or I wouldn't do. And most importantly, always remember to do unto others as you'd have others do unto you. It's not just a biblical creed; it's a universal creed. And with that, I bid you adieu.
Again, agree with all of that, fella. Absolutely agree. And but yeah, and it's been a great stream again today. I think we covered a lot.
Yep, and huge update. Slovakia have just taken the lead. Ivan Schranz, who scored the winner against Belgium, has done it again.
Well, there you go.
So it looks like Slovakia could be going through as potential Group E winners, and this is, of course, Belgium's group. So a huge shot on the cards here. They did. They did.
Yeah, could be a surprise one there with Slovakia and that, but yeah, obviously we'll be watching that. That's still on at the moment, but I'm not sure I'll be watching too much of it because I obviously got to do the actual review of the England game, of course, the cricket game, and then of course the watch along is coming up. So I doubt if I'll be able to watch much of the Euros, or maybe later, of course, probably 5 or whatever the next one's on, and then 8 o'clock, of course, in the evening. So should be able to watch them. But it's been a great show again. We obviously had a lot to cover and talking about useless England football team. But we're going to move on to a much better England team, and that's the cricket team. When I do, I'm obviously going to have a little interval. I'll have about 5 minutes or something, Manny, if that's okay, and then I'll go into that one. We go to that one.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Won't leave it too long because I know you do want to do other things as well. But yeah, okay, mate. And obviously, thanks to everyone that has been in the live chat. And again, keep following me. Keep following me down here, Mr. B for Life 182 on Insta, and subscribe. And please like and smash the likes and everything. And keep doing that and supporting me. But for the time being, we are out of here. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye. Goodbye.